This is HYT client Ricky Flores, who just completed his 8-week starter program transformation. He started it on February 16th of 2023 and ended it last Thursday, I believe was April 13th of 2023. Ricky came to me. He's 6'5", started his weight at about 254 pounds and ended the transformation at 233, which is about a 21 pound, decrease through the 8 weeks. Ricky, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you very much for joining this call. I want to make sure that, you get to talk about your experience of working not just with me, but working with HYT, going through this program, what you learned, how it felt, your experience, everything. So when you came, you reached out, you were really struggling, losing weight, getting in shape. So talk to me a little bit about what inspired you or what motivated you to get started and reach out.
So honestly, reaching out, I think that was probably one of the hardest things because it's like for me as an ex athlete, a former athlete, I just feel like I kind of knew what I was supposed to do, but it's hard to get started. So, sometimes we need someone to just keep us accountable of what we eat and just show up at the gym. But I think I just reached out, obviously, just to you. And because I knew you were doing this with HYT, I felt comfortable. And I just feel like I knew you knew everything about it and you're like a freak when it comes to these things. So I just needed help, some guidance. And I was just failing on doing my own diets, doing my own workouts. I would feel like good for a couple weeks and then I'd fall back into that, into eating like crap or not showing up the next day. So I just need to be held accountable and coming to you. I mean, obviously it worked well.
Very good, very good. So you tapped into a little bit into my next question. What has your experience been like, or what did you hear about potentially working with me and how I view fitness, nutrition, and just kind of being part of this fitness journey? Like what really motivated you to want to work with me?
Just hearing how you speak about, I mean, how you go about business, how you do things the right way. And like I know you had some transformation stories of your own. And I think you had 12 weeks and you finished it in 8 and you hit the goal at Venice, Mecca, right? At the Gold's
Yeah,
Gym
I did.
in competition. So that to me, and then you mentioned like Kobe Mamba mentality. And I was like, oh shit, like here we go. Like this is where I want to be. This is where I belong. And I feel like we kind of have the same mindset when we lock in. So that was very motivating to hear. And just knowing that like you were going to be locked in and helping out for these next 8 weeks.
Awesome, awesome. So what was your experience like throughout the 8 weeks working with me, going through the program? Anything you can share around that?
Yeah, I would say that you were very present. Obviously this was virtually, but I just felt like you were there. I mean, every day we talked, you tapped in with me every single day. What I ate, like you were asking me for my macros, my fitness pal. You like send me what you ate, send me what you put in your body. Have you worked out yet? How is the food responding? So I would say it was great, man. It's not always easy to go through this journey on your by yourself or even with someone, but having you guiding me in the right steps and knowing that you were going to be here no matter what. If I fell off a little bit or if something wasn't working, you were just there present at all times. So that made it a little easier and, just made me feel like you were really interested in helping me reach my goal. So I really
Awesome.
appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I'll tell you that throughout the 8 weeks, you were very responsive. And that was equally as important because I can check in with you every day, but if it's only one-sided, it won't go anywhere, right? So you did your part. So I do appreciate that. You're very responsive. It was very easy to work with you. And the fact that you mentioned it was virtual, the entire 8 weeks was entirely virtual. So we never met in person and you were
Yeah.
still able to go through this and we'll get into the next piece about the how successful you felt you were throughout the 8 weeks, but it was effective. And that made me really happy to see that, the impact it had on you, even though it was 100% virtual. So tell me, like, how did this program help you fit your goals? Like, did you feel there was a lot of flexibility? Do you feel like you were restricted? How was your experience, your mindset? Like, do you feel like you were not enjoying the process? So talk to me a little bit about that.
Honestly, I would say at first I thought it was going to be like all I could eat was just greens and salads and chicken and rice and ground beef. But honestly, like, it didn't feel like a diet. It just felt like I was restricting on what I can and can't eat at the time at that specific time. I didn't think I was gonna eat in and out. I mean, I didn't think you were gonna like let me do that, but there was times like, we had a some plateau and it was like, go have in and out, go enjoy this. So I didn't feel like I was in a diet. Obviously it was, but I just didn't feel like stuck or just like, no, I can't have that. I can't have this. It was just like knowing what I can and can't have. And then having you kind of guide me through that was just very easy. Yeah, man. It wasn't like when you told me to have in and out, and I was telling my family, like, yeah, I can have in and out today, Wednesday. And it's like, what? Thought you were on a diet. I'm like,
Yes.
the thing that was crazy for me was when I had my cheat meal and then I woke up the next morning, I took pictures and I just realized I sent them to him. I'm like, bro, I forgot I had in and out yesterday. And I'm
Right.
taking pictures and I can see the progress. That's where I was like, what the hell? Like this is like you know what you're talking about. I'm gonna just listen the whole way.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So tell me, what were the biggest challenges, man, throughout the 8 weeks? Like there were moments, right? Because I know I asked you to keep a journal of your thoughts, keep a journal, like everything, right? The impact of food in your body, how you felt energy wise. So what were some of the biggest challenges you faced, and where did it go from there?
I would say I think after the first week or 2 weeks, because the first week was it was new, so you get kind of excited, you still like motivated, and then you realize like, oh crap, like I'm 15 days in, I still have 3 weeks, 4 weeks, like I still have a lot of time left and I have to do this every day. It gets challenging, man. Mentally, it's like, and then think the hardest part is when you work so hard for 4 days, 3 days, you stay in the calorie deficit, and you go to the gym and you don't move much weight in the scale. I think that's when, you gotta start. And that's when I would reach out to you like, "Bro, like, I never said this isn't working." It just got a little tough to, like, to keep pushing, to keep showing up. Like, it gets kinda hard. It's a grind, man. You're not gonna see weight drop every single day. And in my transformation, I would believe I'm gaining muscle, because not once did I feel like, "Man, I'm struggling with weight to push at the gym." Like, it felt, like, totally fine. My energy levels were great. So that's why I was like, damn, like I'm still dropping weight, but I'm gaining muscle. So I think that's what kept me going. And then, talking to you and you were like, trust me, I know what I'm doing. Like just keep doing this, keep pushing. And then,
Right.
a couple of days, then I see the weight drop. And I'm like, okay, like this is working.
Right, right. No, I'm glad you share that, man. Patience is important, and I'm glad you also touch on the muscle piece because muscle weight is heavier than fat weight, right? So it's a lot denser. So that I'm glad you're saying, right, the nutrition you were consuming as well as the training routine and regimen that I helped guide you with, you were able to not just shed fat but also start flipping that and start building muscle, right? So that contributed to all that. So you were able to accomplish a weight loss and literally start the transformation of your body and start seeing definition and muscle along the way. Am I right?
100%.
Yeah. And tell me, when you came to me, you said you struggled with back pain, right? You said, I have back pain. I can't squat. I can't do this. I feel really tight around my hips, my core. So talk to me a little about that because our early first, I think our first or second conversation, I kind of guided you. Okay, here's what I want you to do in the gym. Here's how I want you to, do it for the next week or two. And then, we can layer on to that. Talk to me a little about that and what happened to that and throughout the 8 weeks.
Yeah, so obviously when I first came to you, you wrote out the program for me and it included squats, it included deadlifts, and in my head I'm like, I can't do any of this. Because previous to before that, I wasn't doing it. Like it's been 8 months, almost close to a year that I squatted and I felt no back pain, but I did have a herniated disc. And so when you told me like, yeah, you're gonna be squatting, you would do this, I was like, damn, like I don't think I could do it. But I worked through it like little by little. There was the breathing was, I think, what really helped me out the most. Because before I just got squat and go up and down. Like, no, do it right, your core, breathe, excel. So all that helped me out. And honestly, just little by little, I squatted. I was like going up in weight, and now I did 295 yesterday, and I feel fine. So the back pain went away, and it had to do a lot with core. I mean, you were having me doing core four times a week, so all that helped me out, and I think also just losing the weight, less stress on my back, all that played a factor into my back pain going away. And I was struggling with it like big time, bro. I couldn't get out of bed sometimes, like twisting, turnings. And then the one thing I enjoyed the most was my running, my runs, like my night runs.
Right.
I couldn't do that for almost a year. So
And
like
you're
that
able to
that's
do that now?
yeah, like last
That
week I did 2 weeks ago I did my first 2 mile run. Last week I did 3 miles. So this week, I think tonight I'm probably gonna go for 4. But just to see where I'm at. But again, it's like my back pain. I don't even like talking about it because I don't want to mention it. Hopefully it doesn't
right.
come back. But
Yeah.
like it played a big factor into eating right. That's how I see it. The eating right, losing the extra weight, the stress off my back, using your core correctly, the squats, the deadlifts, all that played a factor into it.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, man. And you know what? Honestly, I didn't mention at the opening, but I will mention it now. You're a former major, not major, I'm sorry, collegiate athlete, right? You played
Yeah,
baseball at the collegiate level. So you're an athlete by nature, right? And you had experience throughout all this and you struggled with this, right? Even through your playing days and even post your playing days. And I'm just happy that this has helped you kind of at least start on a path that you can now continue to strengthen to make sure it doesn't, revert back to where you once were. So I'm really happy to hear that, man. So
definitely,
talk
man.
to yeah, thank you. So talk to me, man. Like how has your life changed at this point? Like, talk to me about the 8 weeks. You spent a lot of time, I assume, with family, friends. Like, talk to me. Like, what was that like when you were going through it? You also there was a lot of disruption because it's life, right? I
Yeah.
used to refer to it as life, right? Life happens, right? You got a trip here, you got obligations here, you got events here. So talk to me. Like, how were you able to manage through that? You know, how did my coaching help you through that, as well as what was it like seeing family, friends throughout the process, and what was their reaction to all this?
Yeah, so at first, I feel like when I told my family that I was gonna be on a diet or go through these 8 weeks, they're like, "All right, cool. Like he's gonna last a week, and then he's gonna
Right,
go back to,
right,
eating, doing his own thing, and just eating bad again." But I think like 2 weeks in, they were like, "Okay, like he's serious." So like my mom, dad, my girlfriend was like, "I'm gonna hop. Like he's serious. Like I'm gonna take advantage of it." So they started eating better. So that helped me out a lot because before it's hard when you're on a diet, you come home and there's KFC or there's tacos or, like just influenced by bad things and
right,
it's there. Like, I gotta eat. I'd rather eat that than go spend money. And, so going through this whole 8 weeks, there was a lot of a trip. We had a baseball trip planned like 3 months before I even started my diet. And it was for the World Baseball Classic and it was a trip to Arizona. So I remember telling my boys, like, dude, I'm gonna be on this diet. Like, you guys gotta help me out. This is gonna be crucial, like big. And I told you about it, and you were like, "Hey, man, it's gonna be fine. Just limit the alcohol." And I didn't really drink. I just had the straight tequila, which is fine. But there was a lot that, like, now looking back, I think in the moment I was just locked in. Like, it's just the weekend. Take it day by day, meal by meal. Like, I'm fine. But looking back, like you said, I had my grandma's 85th birthday party, the Arizona trip. I got a new job. I wasn't working weekends anymore, so it was like people were like, "Hey, you don't work weekends? Come over. Let's go to dinner. Let's do this." And it was
right,
like, I can't. Like, I'm on a diet. So,
right.
like I said, looking back, it's like, damn, like I really did all that. But yeah, man, like the trip was I think the biggest highlight was I was able to pack all my meals before and on the way to the trip, like I remember packing my stuff. I took my blender, I took my protein tub, I took all my meals packed. Like the guys thought I was crazy. But after the trip, like well, actually during the trip, they ate In and Out, Canes, and I'm just there with my meal. And after the trip, one of my cousins was like, "Dude, if you can do this on a trip, like there's no excuse for you not to do it at home." And I
Right.
think that's where like the light bulb just like clicked and it's like, yeah, you're right. Like there's no damn excuse if I can stick to my macros, my calories on the road while I'm having fun, like there's no reason why I can't do it at home. So I think that's what it gave me the confidence as well. Like, all right, dude, like I'm locked in. I'm 3, 4 weeks in. Like, let's keep pushing hard.
Got it, got it. And how, as you started to transform, drop weight, how was your family and friends reacting to this? And did they notice? Like, what was that like? How did it make
Yeah.
you feel? How did it make you feel as well?
Yeah, so, for my grandma's birthday party, my cousin Javi, he had told me he didn't tell me at the party, but I saw him the next day at the gym, and he was like, "Dude, my mom told me that you look, like, very thin." So, it was funny because going there, I'm like, "Damn," like, I saw myself and I'm like, "I look thinner," like, I already knew it. So I was kind of waiting for someone to tell me, and I didn't get it from anybody that day. So I was
Yeah.
like, damn, like this ain't working.
Yeah.
But the next day I went to the gym and I'm like, I gotta go harder. So at the gym, he told me that his mom didn't tell me, but he told him like that Ricky looked thinner. So I was like, yeah, then that's when I just opened up like, bro, I've lost 16 pounds. Like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So it made me feel really good. But in my head, I'm like, I'm not even done with my 8 weeks. Like there's more work to be done. But it gave me that little boost and motivation that whatever I'm doing is working. So stick to it.
Right,
So
right.
it made me feel good. And then for my family, my parents that see me every day, my girlfriend sees me almost every damn day. She was like, "Dude, you look like a lot better. You look thinner." And even going to the Dodger game, I remember before that, I had told my girlfriend like, "I'm gonna notice when I put on a Dodgers jersey, because
Right.
like I know how I look in the Dodger. I'm always in a Dodgers jersey." And sure enough, we went, took pictures, and I looked, and I'm like, "Holy, like this is real." Like, yeah,
You were you swimming in it, dude?
basically, yeah. It even fit me like I feel like it fit me tighter, but like a good tight,
Yeah.
like I don't know, I just felt a lot better, just different. It's very different.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you said that. So tell me a little bit, you touched on a little while ago on the struggle, right? You were going through days where, you started dropping weight and then you went through a couple of days where the scale wasn't moving, right? And then you started messing with your head. And you're like, man, but I'm doing my nutrition, I'm taking my water, I'm doing my training, I'm being disciplined, but the scale isn't moving. Talk to me a little bit about mentally, like what did that do to you in those moments? And when those moments were affecting you, that usually potentially can cause someone to say, man, screw this, like it's not working, right? Like I'm gonna probably just do whatever because it doesn't work. Tell me, like in those moments, like how did my coaching help you kind of either remain on track or even get back on track or continue to have a positive mindset to move forward?
So I would say I'm very big on going back to seeing stuff that like if I read something in like a quote and it made me feel some type of way, I'd go back and read it again. So what I did is I saved most of your voice chats, and I'll just go back to you saying like, "Trust me, I know what I'm doing," and I would go over our messages a lot where I would feel stuck, and then I would kind of read your messages, and like it's like I said, you just be like, "Trust me, trust what I'm doing," and I'd go back as well to seeing when I felt stuck that first time, that wasn't working, and then to seeing me text you like, "Well, like actually this worked, like it's working."
Right,
So I go back to those little moments where like I did find some success, and from there I just build.
right,
I got to get that confidence back. It's hard, bro. Mentally, like you said, like a lot of people, and I've been there before, where it's like, all right, man, I'm putting the work in and I'm not seeing the results. Like
right,
I'm just gonna give up. I'm gonna go eat like crap. I'm not even gonna go to the gym
right,
because I don't feel good. I've been there, but this time, like having you and knowing that you were gonna check up on me the next day, and knowing that I have a weight, and like I can't lie, the scale
yeah,
was the scale, man. Like if I went up 8 pounds, like I did
right,
something wrong.
right,
And knowing that, you were gonna know the next day if I did good or bad, like it was just I wanted to make weight the next day. I wanted to make progress. And I
right,
didn't want that all that hard work that I put in the last 3, 4 weeks or whatever it was to just go to waste for
right.
one bad day or one bad decision, one bad meal. So I honestly like to your question, just going back to the moment where I found a little bit of success, like you got to build off that. You have to know that trust the process, trust the grind, man. Those whatever weeks you've been, like that's gonna help you out.
Right.
And don't waste it, man. Like it's not worth it. It's
Yeah.
not worth it.
No, I'm glad you said that. There was a journal entry because I was going through your journal notes. There was a journal entry, I believe it was March 26th. And then you were expressing like, man, I haven't moved
And
my
journaling
weight.
too. Sorry, to cut you off, but journaling,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
write
Yeah.
down your thoughts, man. Write down what you feel at that moment, because you
Yeah.
can always go back. Like my notes, you go back to that, and I'm like, damn, like I was feeling this way at this time,
Right.
and then I look back at April, whatever, like I was feeling better, like I got through that. So
Yeah.
journal, like you were telling me this is important. Every time I came to you for anything, you're like journal this, journal the journal. And I did
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
then you look back at it and it's like, oh crap, like I was feeling like this now, but
Right.
I'm here today. I feel better now. So
No, yeah.
journaling, sorry to cut you off, but yeah,
No,
journaling
no,
was
yeah, no.
huge.
No, that's good. That's good. It's good. I was going to touch on it. So there was a journal. I was going through your journal you shared with me, right? And I believe there was an entry on March 26th. You were expressing a lot of frustration. Man, I haven't moved weight. It's been 4 days and this and that. And then you put a next entry. I think it was April 1st. and you're like, you dropped, I think, 3 or 4 pounds between those 4 or 5 days. And you're like, you're talking about like, yeah, I saw some family and friends. They said I look this, I look amazing, made me feel really good. I feel great. And suddenly, so it was very interesting to see the journal entry 5 days before to the journal entry 5 days later. It was like a 180 flip. And just to, cause, but to your point, how I kept telling you, just stick with it, right? Because think about this: 4 days later, you felt 100% better. Your scale suddenly like broke through, right? You started dipping back down. You started getting really good feedback, made you feel good, which kind of led to a weekend right before the transformation was almost over, where I think you had a couple extra beers, and
Yeah.
you were. But see, here's the thing, and you were very transparent with me. You're like, you know what, this happened, and in those moments, what did I tell you, man? I said part of coaching is to not just hold you accountable, but uplift you, right? It's not about breaking you down. It's about uplifting you in those
Right.
moments and reminding you that you're in it for 8 weeks, and just to focus on the 8 weeks, nothing beyond that and nothing in the past, right? Stay present, right? And that helped you finish strong, because that last week, from that moment when we had that conversation or that exchange, I mean, I could tell you right now, you did great for the 8 weeks. But if I had to tell you, in my opinion, my vote would be the last 7 or 6 or 7 days of the transformation. You wrapped up very strong. It was probably your best week, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think you were like 100%, not that you weren't before, but there was like, I can tell, I can just tell you were like locked. You were both mentally, nutrition, training, water, everything. Like you tell me if I'm wrong, but I just felt like you took it up another notch to really finish strong, even after that instance. So that showed a lot of character in your part, which I want to commend you for.
Yeah. And going back to that weekend was because I feel like towards the end, that got kind of tough because everyone around me were seeing the results, and it's either a good thing or a bad thing. I think this kind of got in my head where I was like, all right, I'm almost done. I only have a couple of days left. Like, let me not slack off, but it's all right. I could have that extra beer. I could have that extra,
Right.
whatever it is. But then came Monday and I seen the scale and I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit, like this is not okay, man. Like I'm gonna mess up my whole eight
Right.
weeks for
Right.
what? And I told you about it and I was like, you know what? I want to be done with this. Like it happened. Let's get to work. And I was like, I'm gonna kill like the last couple of days. Like I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna let all that go to waste. Like I'm gonna finish strong. And like you said, like remember we talked that right before we finished the 8 weeks, you're like, what were you doing? And that was something that I did extra, just
Right.
put more work in, the extra work,
Right.
and something I figured out about the waking up earlier,
Right.
using the bathroom first
Yeah.
before weighing yourself. Just things like that I figured out myself that really helped me, like you said, take it up a notch and
That's
finish
awesome, man.
strong.
That's awesome, man. So what would you share with anyone who's interested in starting their fitness journey that doesn't know how, and, considering working with HYT, working with me, take going through this program, the starter program that we're calling it. It's an 8 week program, virtual, 100% virtual. Like, what would you share to anyone interested in getting their fitness journey started and working with and going through this program? Just to kind of like give someone some insight of what anything else that you haven't already shared, that, to kind of help them understand what it really offers and what it really does for you and what the experience is really like.
Yeah, man, I would definitely recommend it. Like you said, it's a starter program. You got to start somewhere. And with you being present, like it's virtual, but you were present throughout the whole 8 weeks. I never once did I feel like, damn, like I don't have help or any questions I had. I would send you pictures of label nutrition facts. Does this work? Yes, no. And
Right.
bro, you responded like if I'm at Target and I ask you, does this work? Like I got to
Right.
answer right then before I was gonna buy it. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. It's okay, man. Like I said, the starter program, you got to start somewhere. It's okay to ask for help, to reach out, and HYT, I think you being present is what made me feel like, all right, I'm not alone. Like we're gonna get through this. I didn't know much. I didn't know everything. Like you're the expert, and you told me many of times, let me do the thinking, and you just execute. That's huge to me because you're doing all the hard work, but I mean, I'm doing the hard work. I'm putting the
Yeah.
work in,
Yeah.
but you're telling me what to eat. So you're telling me what to eat, when to work out, and I just had to follow your instructions. And for anyone starting, man, like I said, I would highly recommend it. You were present throughout the whole process. You were very helpful. And I mean, it's hard for people to start. I understand, man. It took me a long time, but once you start, you got to finish strong. And for the starter program, the whole 8 weeks, just know that you're going to have a coach who's going to be present and is going to help you get to where you want to get. And even aside from that, man, like you're a freak when it comes to these things. So it's like knowing that you are fully invested in myself and trying to change my body and my lifestyle, that gives me the confidence. Like I had you right here on my shoulder, like, just telling me this is fine, this is not okay. So I would highly recommend it, man. I appreciate all the hard work that you put in. And even as a virtual, like you said, we didn't meet once. So that right there, it should give everyone the confidence that you're gonna be engaged. And like you said, it taught you as well, like this can happen, this can work as a coach. And for you teaching me, I really appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. And thank you for the good positive feedback and the kind words. And I'm proud of you, man. You got through it, and congratulations on finishing 8 weeks. And you and I can discuss later what we want to do next with you and you in the next
Definitely.
piece of your journey. But I do appreciate you being present as well, putting in the work, executing. It definitely made it a lot easier to go through the 8 weeks. So I thank you for that, and appreciate the time, man. So thank you so much.
Of course, Frankie. Thank
All
you,
right.
man. Appreciate it.
All right. All right. Take care.